Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, September 14th, and I'm your host, Krista McDonald. As you know, last Saturday was Norwood Day. NCM was one of the many local organizations and businesses that set up a booth on Washington Street in the center of town. Residents enjoyed popcorn, pizza, and live music, as well as the opportunity to meet some public officials at the local and state level. NCM's Erin Crowley had the chance to speak with Jeff Deal, a Republican running for U.S. Senate.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Erin Crowley and I'm here with Jeff Deal, who is a candidate for U.S. Senator in Massachusetts. So Jeff, tell me what you're doing down here at Norwood Day.
Oh my gosh, well last summer I came out and actually it's the beginning of fall now because everybody's back to school, but came out last year, had a chance to meet people with the election coming up. I just want to make sure they know they're going to have a choice of a U.S. Senator that's going to focus on Massachusetts, and that's what we're doing. We're spreading that message.
All right, cool. And this is a big tradition here in Norwood. Big crowd comes out every year. Why did you think it was important to hit this event specifically?
Well, I've been a state legislator for 8 years. The best ideas I have come from talking to people in communities face to face. And so for me, this campaign, I've been campaigning now for over a year. And I think the reason we won this last Tuesday, the primary, so overwhelmingly was because I've been able to communicate, listen to people, and then put their ideas into action on Beacon Hill and now down in Washington.
Awesome. And what type of Norwood Day swag are you going to take home with you finally? We got to know.
Oh my gosh, I'm not sure. I know, like last year, I think there was a baseball team that I was able to get a T-shirt from. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe a drink koozie or something like that.
All right, we'll see. Hopefully an NCM button on your way out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, thank you, Jeff, and best of luck this fall.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Later in the day, residents of Norwood were surprised by the appearance of Governor Charlie Baker. NCM got the chance to ask the governor why events like Norwood Day are so important.
All right, hello everyone, welcome back. I am joined by Governor Charlie Baker. So Governor, please tell us why you made the stop in Norwood today. We're so happy to have you.
Well, part of it was I was in the neighborhood, and that's no joke. I had some other stops down in this part of the Commonwealth. But also, I grew up in Needham. I have a lot of friends in Norwood. And I've been to Norwood Town Day a bunch of times, and it's a really nice, very positive, family-oriented event. And I think it's exactly the sort of event that towns in Massachusetts do so well, and Norwood does it as well as any of them.
All right, awesome, and thank you. And Norwood Day is a big tradition here in town, so what's your feel on it? What's your recap for anyone who's missing it today?
My biggest recap would be everybody you know and you like and you pal around with and you hang out with is here, and if you're not here, you're missing out a chance to hang around with them.
All right, well, thank you, Governor. It's great to chat with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin. We already can't wait for next year. Just one day after Norwood Day on Sunday afternoon, the Norwood Fire Department received a call that one of the buildings across from the Common had caught fire. The fire quickly spread and eventually grew to a 2-alarm blaze. For more on this, we go to Fire Chief George Maurice.
So Norwood Fire Department was returning from a call when a pedestrian had flagged down our Engine 4 crew and notified them that they could see smoke coming from 599 Washington Street. Engine 4 crew arrived, 2 smoke showing from the roof of the building. Lieutenant Dave Hayes immediately struck a working fire. Captain Mike Costello arrived along with the other apparatus to find a smoke condition on the second floor of the building and heavy smoke coming from the middle section of the roof. Crews entered the building, realized that there was a issue with multiple ceilings and trying to access what they believe to be a fire in the caulk loft area of the building. Crews from multiple mutual aid towns came, assisted on scene. We had the fire extinguished, and then it was a matter of overhaul and trying to protect any businesses inside from water damage, which we did with salvage covers. Crews cleared approximately 3 to 4 hours later. The fire was determined to be accidental. It's an undetermined electrical event. Our 2 fire investigators, firefighter Eric Henry and Lieutenant John Cody, came to that determination. So we do not believe anything malicious happened on the scene of the property.
Thanks, Chief, and thank you to the Norwood Fire Department for keeping the situation under control. We'll be right back after this break to find out how Town Hall employees countered a cyber attack and to find out where Mike Maloof went on this week's Living Local.
Hi, I'm Tom O'Rourke. I'm the president of the Neponset Valley Chamber of Commerce, located here in Norwood. We are a business organization of about 500 local businesses, and we believe that business can accomplish a lot more together than they can on their own. So we encourage local businesses to join us and let their voice be heard as part of the Chamber of Commerce. Our mission is to connect. We connect business to business, we connect business to the community, and we connect business to the local school systems. We work very closely with the local school systems to ensure that our future workforce is the best it can be, and that people who live in this area can work in this area and make a great life for themselves in the Neponset Valley region. So we encourage you to become a part of the Chamber if you're not today. You can learn more about us on our website, nvcc.com, or you can always call the office at 781-769-1126. We look forward to seeing you in the Neponset Valley.
Welcome back. This week, the town of Norwood faced a new type of crime that has become a major issue, not just here, but all over the country. On Wednesday, the town finance department received an email that appeared to be from town manager Tony Mazzucco. It requested a wire transfer of more than $40,000. Town treasurer Mark Good found the email to be suspicious and followed up with Mr. Mazzucco. For more on this cyber attack, we go to town manager Tony Mazzucco.
So the town of Norwood this past week was almost subject to a cyber attack or cyber crime. And it's a sophisticated kind of cyber attack where a individual is, they call it social engineering, and they actually study your organization, find out who's in key leadership positions in your organization, and try to get either personal information or financial gain from the organization. So in this case, a hacker, and remains to be determined who they are, created a fake email address with my email address, so the town manager's email address, on a fake server, and they initially emailed town accountant Tom McQuaid, and asked them to process an invoice, and this invoice ties back to it's a fake company and a fake invoice, of course, but an actual bank account number for a bank account, and trying to get the staff to pay for it very quickly. And that's how they really run these scams, is they're just trying to get the CEO of an organization or a manager to say, hey, you got to get this done real quick and pay this out. They get their money and then they disappear and go. Well, Tom McQuaid was on vacation. He had an auto email forward that bounced back, so they actually went in and found that Linda Laridis is our assistant town accountant. They then used the same fake email address, sent it from me to Linda. She, of course, thought it looked a little strange. She sent it to the treasurer, had a little conversation back and forth with this hacker, this fake email address. She forwarded it to Treasurer Mark Good, who had some concerns about it. And he, instead of replying to that email, forwarded the whole chain of email to me and said he had some concerns and should they issue a check, and really this isn't our process. And then when that email came to me, I realized that I knew nothing about this invoice, and as I looked at it, I realized I had never had this email chain conversation back and forth with the assistant town accountant. So we were able to quickly put a stop to it. It would have been about a $45,000 loss had the town gone through with it. So we stopped it. We have some good practices in place. We're going to review them. We have our IT team coming together later in the week with the town and the schools, and we're bringing in an outside consultant to sort of look at what worked and how we were able to stop the attack from happening and make sure that our internal practices were good. And they were. The staff questioned it. It's not our normal process. I normally don't handle invoices on a day-to-day basis, so the staff said, why is the town manager sending us an invoice? And they had the smarts to question it and make sure that they went through their process and crossed the T's and dotted their I's, and that's what led us to realizing that it was fraud, and we were able to stop this one cyber attack that could have cost the town quite a bit of money. Certainly, I'm sure they're going to happen in the future. It's happening more and more, but great work by the finance team here in the town of Norwood, and we're moving forward, and we're doing the best we can do to keep the residents' money safe and to keep our personal information safe as well.
Thanks, Tony, and great job to everyone at Town Hall. Now let's find out where Mike Maloof went for this week's Living Local.
Thanks, Kristen. For this week's Living Local, we're down here at the Norwood Space Center with owner of Chroma Design, Stacy Church. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about Chroma Design?
Okay, well, I refurbish old furniture. There's sort of two sides to the business. One is I find pieces on my own that I think are interesting or that I'd like to salvage, and I refinish them and sell them. But I do mostly custom work for people now. Since I was in a storefront on Day Street,
Yep.
And I got a lot of walk-in traffic, and it seemed most people were interested in, they would have a chest of drawers that was their great Uncle Henry's, and I hate it. I hate the color. Can you do something with it?
Right.
So I realized that most people had furniture that they didn't like.
Awesome. And how'd you get into this business?
Well, I was working as a librarian at
Okay.
the Westwood Public Library for 19 years. And I had started doing some furniture painting at home just on my own, and it was because I hated all my furniture.
Yep.
I realized one day it was all inherited and I didn't like it, so I just started painting it piece by piece. Then I lost my job in a really ugly kind of way.
Okay.
And I was painting, and I realized I'm really happy doing this.
Right.
I love doing this.
Okay.
So I opened a storefront completely without any funding or experience. I just thought, okay, I'm 59 years old and just jump into it.
And now we're here.
Right. So I was on Day Street for
Yep.
5 years. That ended in a not great way
Okay.
either. But then I found the Space Center. Been hearing people talk about the Norwood Space Center and how exciting it was and how great it was. So I called and they had one space left, which was the one that I'm in now. And I came and took a tour and I thought, I don't know, it's so different. I don't have a store window. There's no running water.
Right.
I just didn't know, but I decided to try it, and it's a great place to be. I love being here.
Awesome. And what are some of the more common pieces of furniture that you find yourself finishing?
A lot of dressers.
Okay.
And then it seemed like for a while there were a lot of dining room tables. With dressers and things, I found people don't really like dark furniture anymore. They don't want mahogany. They don't want even walnut, which is painful because it's really beautiful.
Right.
But with dining room tables, a lot of people wanted to keep the mahogany table, but they wanted to be more practical. They wanted to be like this, so you can put your cups on it,
Right.
and your kids can color on it, and they're not going to ruin it. So I started sanding down and refinishing a lot of dining room tables for
Okay.
people.
So how can people get in contact with you down here?
Well, I have a phone number that they can call. I have a website. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I used to post every day, but now it's probably more like 3 or 4 times a week. On the Facebook posts, I try to put what hours I'm open.
Okay.
Since I'm here, it's even more erratic. Before I tried to keep regular, kind of 9 to 5.
Yep.
But here it's been pretty much, I'm here in the morning. I'm doing work on furniture at home in the afternoons usually. When I first get a piece, I do a sort of a heavy sanding, and I do that outside because obviously you can't do that
Right.
inside. So anyway, I have cards. They have my cards at Babel's. Different places in town have my cards, or go online and look up Chroma Furniture Design.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you want the people of Norwood to know?
Well, I want them to know that they should take a look around their house at their furniture and see what things suit the purpose, but
Yep.
maybe aren't attractive the way they'd like them to be. But if you have a piece that fits what you need,
Yep.
we can work with it and turn it into something that you like.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
If you have any old furniture in your house that you want updated, email a picture to Stacy. That's all for this week's Living Local. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Mike. Stay tuned after this break to find out what's happening in your local government.
Stop by the Norwood Morrill Memorial Library and check out magazines, newspapers, DVDs, and of course, books. The library also offers a variety of services, including passport renewal, a notary, and tutoring, with multiple different meeting rooms which can be booked for your convenience. Take advantage of online digital resources and get assistance with all of your research needs. Kids can enjoy the children's room stocked with books and toys. There are also a variety of programs for children and adults. And if you can't make it into the library can come to you with home delivery. The library is open Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., and on Fridays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. To learn more, go to www.norwoodlibrary.org.
Welcome back to Norwood News. The Planning Board held a meeting in the Police and Fire Community Room on Monday night. Topics of discussion included the 94 Morse Street Bach parking lot. Bach requested a special permit modification, which would allow for the ability to take a right-hand turn out of their parking lot. A motion was made and approved to continue talking about it at the next meeting, when DPW Director Mark Ryan will be present to provide more information. Discussion then moved to the lot at 84 Morse Street. Counsel for Bach, David Hearn, explained the company's position regarding the lot.
I know that over the last couple of weeks there's been a fair amount of discussion and questions have been raised about whether the town may be given an opportunity to try to purchase the Saints lot. Many people have spoken about its perceived value for open space for the town, green space, habitat for animals, and that could be preserved if that were not developed. I'm here to tell the board and the public this evening that my client has agreed that they're willing to allow the town the opportunity to buy the property, to agree that nothing at all will be done. They have no plans for the site right now, but if they buy it sooner or later, they probably want to do something with it, or somebody would want to do something with it. But they're willing to hold open for a year the possibility for the town to purchase that lot.
The public was then allowed to ask questions, and they requested a meeting with Bach, which was accepted. A motion was then made and approved to continue discussion until the next meeting. On Tuesday, the Board of Selectmen held their weekly meeting with a lighter agenda than usual. The board had no scheduled appearances for the evening, allowing the board to get directly to new business. During the Selectmen's addenda, all board members took a moment to pay tribute to their friend and colleague, John Hayes, who passed away over the weekend. Hayes was a longtime member of the Finance Commission and Housing Authority.
Well, the town of Norwood lost John Hayes this week. John had been a member of the Finance Commission for many years and a member of the Public Housing for many, many years, a member of the Democratic Town Committee, and he spent a great deal of time supporting causes that help make the town of Norwood the wonderful town that it is today.
John Hayes. John has been the longest serving finance commissioner for the town of Norwood that we've ever had. John was a close friend of mine. We were members at the Norwood Sportsmen's Association, had dinner together up there many times. Wonderful guy. He's going to be missed a lot by me.
I also want to give my condolences to June Hayes and her family, her two sons, for the loss of my neighbor, John Hayes. He's always been a good neighbor all the years I've lived on Hawthorne Street. And he's been a good man, and the town will be at a loss for his demise, his passing. So again, my condolences to his entire family. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I served with John Hayes on the Finance Commission for 6 years, and I learned a great deal from him, and there was no better moment in a Finance Commission meeting than to watch John lean over and put his elbow over his eye like this, because you knew something was coming, and it was going to be worth waiting around for. So, but he was a wealth of knowledge and received wisdom on that board, and as I think 29 years he served on it, and his loss will be deeply felt here in the town.
John was here for so long. I actually beat John for a seat on the Finance Commission in 1986, but he didn't take no for an answer. He came back the next year in 1987 and served continually since. I also worked closely with him on at the Housing Authority, where he was a commissioner, and he cared as much for the tenants at the housing authority as he did for all the residents of Norwood, and every action that he took, and he had everyone's best interests at heart when he made the decisions on those boards. So we owe him a lot of gratitude, and his wife June for lending him to us all those years too. Thank you.
Mr. Hayes was a great asset to the town of Norwood and will be deeply missed. The Board of Selectmen will meet again Tuesday, September 18th at 7 p.m. The Zoning Board also held a meeting Tuesday night at Town Hall in Room 12. The ZBA had a full agenda, starting with an application for a special permit at 203 Richland Road for a second-story addition, and 41 Florence Ave to build a 3-car garage. Both special permits were approved by the board. At 7:45, the ZBA continued the hearing with Norwood Hospital regarding the hospital's request to hang flags on the light posts on their property, as well as other renovations, including signs to be hung on the Draper building. After much discussion with Attorney Hearn and Kim Kelly of Norwood Hospital, the board made the following decision.
The vote that's in front of us right now is to allow the banner on the Draper building for 1 year with one message, subject to a review by this board of a mock-up of said message prior to Mr. Schubert granting the approval/permit.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion on that?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Riley, seconded by Mrs. Kinta. All those in favor? Opposed? 5-0.
The next ZBA meeting will be held on October 2nd. NCM added a new meeting to their action-packed government channel lineup, the Norwood Library Board of Trustees. The trustees met on Tuesday, September 11th, and discussed a variety of happenings at the Norwood Library. Director Charlotte Kennelly talks about the upcoming 150th birthday celebration for Norwood and how the library wants to play a prominent role in the celebration.
Well, you know, I talked to you we talked at one of the last board meetings about this, and we've moved forward, and Bernie Cooper and Tom Maloney and I have done a little bit of discussion, and I'd really like the library to take a real, a real prominent role in this celebration that is 4 years away, but not really 4 years away because things move quickly. So that's really important. I think that we do that. We have programs here, and that we're as involved as we can be.
The next trustees meeting will be held on October 9th at 7:30 p.m. Wednesday night, the Community Preservation Committee met in the Robert Thornton Meeting Room at Town Hall. The meeting began with a recap of Norwood Day, and members complimented Patrick Deshane, Assistant Town Planner, on a job very well done. The discussion then moved to the upcoming workshop on September 26th.
Primarily it's the reason, I should back up I guess, the reason for this hearing, it's September 26th, 2018 at 7 p.m. That is a Wednesday night in the police fire station on Manhattan Street. It's a workshop, I should have started this way, it's a workshop to discuss the town's community preservation plan. It's a step-by-step approach to the project application process. We'll be entertaining questions and comments regarding the application process, the applicable projects and the process, and then an explanation of the timeline and the process going forward. This whole process culminates in the May annual town meeting.
Is it basically how we're going to spend the CPA money? Or we're going to
the
go to town
application.
meeting to actually get your pet project in front of town meeting so you can spend your tax dollar? Is that basically what we're doing?
Capital idea,
Exactly
yes.
right.
Later in the meeting, Assistant Town Planner Patrick Deshane discussed the work that is being done at St. Gabriel's Chapel.
Just because I had a brief memo on the chapel. I don't have any exact figures, obviously, but just basically they have 3 individual contracts, one for masonry, scaffolding, one for the windows, one for the lantern. I think they're set to be construction to refurbish the scaffolding, as well as maybe a pre-construction meeting to talk about the impending masonry refurbishing. So as of today, no appropriate CPA funds have been spent on the project. I was in conversation with Linda Lardis of the county department, and we'll sit down with her tomorrow just to kind of go over where our money stands on that project, and like you mentioned, getting those figures for us in terms of how much money we'll have by the special town meeting, where we'll be at by the annual town meeting, which we did last year as well. So we'll get all those squared away and have everyone get an idea of what we have. Yep.
The next meeting for the Community Preservation Committee will be September 26th in the Police and Fire Community Room at 7 p.m. Also on Wednesday night, the Trails Subcommittee met in Room 12 of Town Hall. Eagle Scout Noah Kearns came before the board to discuss his project to put permanent mile markers at the Norwood cross-country course. As you may remember, Noah organized a 5K fundraiser to raise money to pay for these signs.
I'm going to put down permanent mile markers and a map so people who are not from Norwood could use the Norwood cross-country course.
Okay. And this is at which property?
This is at the Coakley, where the Coakley uses these fields. So
the Coakley's over here,
the Coakley's
and this is the parking lot.
And I plan to put a map to the right, somewhere in there, so people who are anyone walking around could go out running. And
there's exercise equipment over here too, right?
Yes.
So it'll be over near where the exercise equipment is. That would be the map.
The committee went on to discuss new trails to walk in Norwood. The next meeting of the Trails Subcommittee will be on Tuesday, September 25th at 7 p.m. The school committee also met on Wednesday evening. The meeting began with Dr. Hugh Galligan, new principal of the high school, and Brian Riley, new principal of the Prescott School, introducing themselves to the committee. Members then moved on to a presentation of 5-year budget projections. The presentation compared the costs of expanding school programs versus keeping them as they are now. Superintendent Dr. Thompson pointed out that no matter what, there will still be a deficit.
So, yeah, none of this is super great news if you consider that, if you go back to that level service budget, and we know that we're not really doing all that we should be doing, and even if we stay with not doing all that we should be doing, we're still looking at a $3.4 million deficit.
Chair Maya Bodenhofer then discussed the town budget committee's hope to have a presentation ready for the November town meeting. The budget committee is also planning on providing a recommendation for an override by the end of the year. Committee member Michelle Mullen then brought up the cost of providing special ed bus drivers in comparison to hiring an outside company. Dr. Thompson pointed out that fiscally, providing drivers is more cost effective. The school committee will meet again on September 19th. To watch complete government coverage, tune into the NCM government channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break to find out what is happening in your schools.
Hi, I'm Chief Bill Brooks of the Norwood Police Department. The men and women of the Norwood PD are committed to protecting you and to providing you with top quality service. We're busy. Norwood is a nice town, but in any given 24-hour cycle, we handle anywhere from 65 to 90 radio calls and officer-initiated events. We patrol the town's 10 square miles, including over 100 miles of roadways. Our traffic enforcement focuses on places where crashes have occurred, neighborhoods where residents have reported chronic violations, and offenses that impact crashes, like speed, texting, running stop signs and red lights, and failing to yield to pedestrians. When we're not tied up on calls, we work hard to build relationships with members of the community. So you'll see our officers out walking footbeats, checking in with merchants, and stopping at sporting events to chat with kids. We believe that every resident should know, or at least feel like they know, a member of our department. So if you see us, stop and say hello. We'd love to chat with you. On behalf of the men and women of the Norwood Police Department, it's our pleasure to serve you.
Welcome back. Now it's time to toss it over to Tim Rose to find out what is happening around the Norwood School District.
Hi guys, thanks for joining me for another update on events and activities happening around our Norwood school community. At the Old Ham School, the students were asked, "What do you want to achieve this year?" They responded on colorful 3x5 index cards, and the cards were put on bulletin boards outside the main hallway. The project was led by literary specialist teacher Candice DeBoer, in collaboration with all of the classroom teachers. It was a simple but fun project to get students to start thinking and writing. The start of the school year at the Prescott School is off to a great start. Both teachers and students have spent time establishing inclusive community expectations, learning about each other, and setting goals for the school year. Both teachers and students are all in with the social-emotional learning and kicked off the year understanding who is in the community, what their values are, and how they can solve community conflicts. Also at the Prescott, the 4th and 5th graders loved participating in an instrumental demonstration with Miss Bedard, Miss Lawrence, and Mr. Smith. They heard a few familiar songs, like Bruno Mars, and options for instruments this year. The Prescott School is looking forward to a great year. In high school news, the Guidance Department is having a senior college planning night on Tuesday, September 18th at 6:30 p.m. in the auditorium. All seniors and their parents and guardians are invited to a presentation by the guidance staff on the college exploration and application process. At the Cleveland School, students and families were welcomed on the first day with wonderful chalk art messages designed by the school's student council. It was a great way to start the new year. The Cleveland School also welcomed Officer Jeffrey Baguma as their newest school liaison officer. Officer Baguma will be visiting the school periodically, including at recess and lunchtimes. Students will have the opportunity to meet and talk with Officer Baguma. At the Coakley Middle School, the grade 8 science teachers used the cup stacking challenge as a team-building activity. The objectives were to work together as a team toward a common goal, to improve verbal and nonverbal communication skills, and to explore and implement various problem-solving techniques. Students were placed into small groups and then were given 6 red solo cups, string, and a rubber band. The main rules were that everyone must participate, and only the rubber band is allowed to touch the cups in order to move them. There were multiple challenges assigned, and for some of the challenges, students were not allowed to talk and had to have one hand behind their backs. The challenges included moving all 6 cups from a vertical stack to a straight line across the desk, and then moving them from a vertical stack to a pyramid. Looks like the students had fun with this activity. Nice job, CMS. Well, that's it for school news. For more information around the district, please check the website, Facebook, and watch Norwood Community Media. As always, thanks so much for your continued support of our school community. Now let's go to Mike Maloof for some Norwood sports news.
Thanks, Tim. Football kicked off their season last weekend against now out-of-league rival Walpole. The Mustangs held it close at half, but eventually fell to the Rebels 27-0. On Monday, the field hockey team suffered their first loss of the season, 6-1 against Medway. Tuesday, the girls volleyball team also took on Medway, losing 3-0. Field hockey and both soccers had their games postponed on Wednesday due to the weather. Thursday was a busy day for the Mustang athletes. Girls cross country took on Westwood, lost 42-19, while boys soccer also fell to Westwood 4-0. Field hockey got back to their winning ways, beating Holliston 2-0. For more Norwood Mustang scores and info, follow Mustang Sports on Twitter. That's all for sports. Now back to Kristen at the desk.
Thanks, Mike. On Wednesday, September 12th, Progress Norwood held part 1 of their 4-part series on climate change at the Norwood Library. NCM was there to catch up with John Apria and Katie Neal Rizzo to find out more on Progress Norwood's mission.
Yeah, our group is Progress Norwood. We're newly formed in town, and we cover a bunch of different issues, one of which is the environment. We also cover issues like transgender rights and inequality amongst racial groups. Katie and I were here tonight presenting about the environment and environmental issues in town.
When I started hearing a lot of people talking about denying climate change and questioning the environmental impact of humans on climate change, it kind of startled me, people questioning whether the science was real behind it. And I have 3 young children, and I want what's best for them, and I want them to have a healthy, nice future and be able to enjoy nature like I have growing up. So it kind of kicked my butt into action.
So we talked a lot about reducing, reusing, and recycling. We also talked about refusing plastic bottles, plastics in general, whether it's recyclable plastics or single-use disposable plastics. Yeah, a lot of it is just spreading the word and changing the mindset. You know, with China refusing our plastics, we need to start reducing the amount that we're actually taking from the earth. And we put together the Earth Day event this past spring, and there's been a lot of momentum since. And what we found was a lot of people are interested and they just want to learn more. So Katie and I got together and we decided just to do this event and start spreading the word and get more input so we can make bigger changes in town, like reducing plastic bags and reducing plastic straws.
We have a lot of things at stake with the climate change deniers and the science isn't real people, and we really need to make sure that our children understand what we're up against in the future if we continue to trash the earth and create so much waste and increase the climate, the temperatures in the climate and global warming. We really have a lot at stake. We're losing our well-being and our children's futures.
To watch the whole presentation, tune into Norwood Community Media's Town channel. We would like to thank everyone who stopped by to say hello to us at Norwood Day and took the time to take our survey, as well as everyone who took the survey online. Now for the moment everyone has been waiting for. We will be picking the winner of our raffle for the Norwood Community Media Under Armour pullover.
There you are, Ms. McDonald.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the winner is, and we actually only have the beginning of the email, so I'll just state that. It is 22 R. Jean Luis. So you will be notified that you have been a winner, and we'll get some great gear. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.